Welcome to Bucharest, capital of the People's Republic of Romania, a country about the same size as the British Isles, but with half its population at 20 million people. A country which, despite its communist revolution in 1947, is evidently proud of its Latin traditions and culture.
And Latin temperament, contrasting perhaps with that of the surrounding Slavs, has enabled the Romanians to soften the hardline Stalinist regime into a more liberal and independent westward-looking communism. Today, Romania, I used to call it Romania, is a mixture of old and new, of seemingly limitless plains and the high Carpathians of Transylvania, where the legends of Vlad the Impaler and Dracula and the vampires seem clothed in reality. It's also a country of surprises as well as contrasts. For example, in the only European nation self-sufficient in oil, this new locally produced moped is powered by electricity.
It was designed and built here at the Government Electrical Research Establishment in Bucharest.
Here, they test everything from high-voltage insulators to the noise level of a domestic vacuum cleaner. They've also developed what was originally an American concept, the flat-rotor electric motor, which is claimed to possess advantages over conventional motors, the principal one being very compact physical size, made possible by the flat rotor replacing the bulky armature of the conventional electric motor. The Romanians have a family of these in production, ranging from 350 watts to 4 kilowatts.
Well, of course, the heart of this little machine is the motor, which has been designed and developed here and is related to those you've just been looking at. Unfortunately, they won't let us film it with the cover off because they're still seeking world patent coverage. But I can tell you it's battery-powered and very small, so let's give it a whirl.
Rush hour in a strange city is no place for a considered road test. However, the little bicycle seemed to offer a performance similar to a 49cc conventional moped. The designers claim it will run for about 3 hours between battery recharging.
One of the characteristics of Romanian communism is freedom of religion. There are many beautiful cathedrals and churches in the country, most of them Romanian Orthodox. They are well maintained and they are well attended. This warm and friendly people are obviously proud of their historical heritage, and to preserve it, they are prepared to make the present serve the past.
The rich vestments, the serenity of the ritual choral music are counterpointed by the grandeur of the building, every square inch of which seems to be covered with frescoes, often of great beauty and vitality. Allegorical in theme, they are the equivalent of the stained glass of the Anglican churches. The parish church of St. Michael and Gabriel. Beside it, an older church, shelled in 1917. It has stood derelict and roofless for nearly 60 years. A tree grows from the nave. The church is now dangerous and has to be demolished, but it contains some irreplaceable frescoes, and these are to be removed. The work is being undertaken by Dr. Moraru, a Romanian expert who has developed a highly successful technique. A special water-soluble glue is prepared and heated to a precise temperature. The frescoes, meanwhile, have been carefully cleaned with alcohol to remove any loose plaster and grease. This glue has reached the critical temperature, which has to be maintained throughout the operation, and the old priest takes a last look at the frescoes which have been in his church for over 200 years. Now the glue is applied, and it's essential to get an even coating over the entire area to be removed. Next, clean linen, cut to size, is glued to the fresco. 3 layers of linen will be applied on top of the painting. The removal of frescoes has presented problems for centuries, and it's only lately that a thoroughly scientific approach has been made to the rescue of these artistic treasures. Frescoes were brought to full flower by the Florentines in the 16th century. They consist of mineral pigments mixed with lime water and applied a fresco, or fresh, to the wet plaster. The artist had a limited time in which to work, about 6 hours, known as a giornata or day's work. After this, the plaster base would dry and the essential chemical changes that make a true fresco would not take place. Frescoes are made permanent by carbon dioxide from the air combining with calcium hydroxide from the plaster to form calcium carbonate. Seen through a microscope, the calcium carbonate which forms the fresco is crystalline, and if examined in cross-section, the crystalline boundary layer between the fresco and the plaster base can clearly be seen. It is this crystalline boundary which is the key to modern fresco removal. After about 72 hours, the glued linen has hardened and can be used to remove the fresco by shearing the crystal boundary. It's a very tricky operation, for the fresco is incredibly thin, a mere 0.02 of a millimeter thick. The sound is the crystal boundary shearing.
Splendid. Okay. Very good.
Very good indeed. In fact, the perfect removal. The pigments have been sliced through so thinly that traces of color are left behind, revealing for the first time the working sketch used by the original artist. Traces of plaster are removed. And now a water-resistant glue is applied to the back of the fresco and a support is made from layers of glued linen. When this has dried, the fresco is transferred to the Building Research Laboratory in Bucharest. The next stage involves water, lots of it, to remove the linen from the face of the fresco. Great care and patience is required. It would be all too easy to ruin the entire work at this stage. The fresco, as is apparent, is still delicate as a butterfly wing. The Romanians only remove frescoes from their churches if, as in this case, the church from which they come is in disrepair or structural alterations are being made because they are part of the very fabric of the building. They can then be replaced in the church, or like these and others, placed in museums to be enjoyed for what they are.
The Romanian tradition in aviation goes back to before the First World War, and they have not, it seems, lost the touch.
They are building Britain-Norman Islanders under a British license. And they have designed and built this IAR-823, a rugged and fully aerobatic elementary trainer which can work from rough fields and requires the minimum of maintenance. It's being looked at with interest in the West as a possible alternative in a market dominated by the light aircraft of the United States. Power aircraft aside, The Romanian aerospace industry is producing this beautiful 15-meter glider. This particular one is due to be delivered to a Swiss customer. At a time when most manufacturers are turning to plastic, this glider is made from aluminium. It's very well fitted out and offers air brakes of unusual efficiency and, uniquely in a 15-meter glider, flaps. Though these cannot be used in international competition, they make the glider very easy to fly. It also has the modern all-flying tail and automatic trim. The finish is excellent for an all-metal plane, and several have already found their way into the hands of Western pilots, like this one flying over Hampshire.
The River Danube, romantic certainly, but not very blue, I'm afraid. On the far shore, Bulgaria. And we have come to this place called Sadova-Corabia, right on the Romanian frontier, to report one of the world's biggest irrigation projects. River water is drawn off from the main stream via this channel to be pumped up into a vast network of pipelines and canals. It makes fertile what has been traditionally one of the most impoverished districts of Romania. The area, 80,000 hectares, say 300 square miles, or twice the size of the Isle of Wight. It was designed and built by a consortium of leading British companies in partnership with the Romanian Communist Party and government.
The project begins at this barrier with its 3 sluice gates, which control water drawn off from the Danube. This water feeds the main canal, which runs for 10.5 kilometers across a floodplain. Now, this floodplain of some 43,000 acres used to be swamped in winter to become a desert during the hot Balkan summer. One of the first tasks was to reverse this process, to drain it in winter and irrigate it in summer. Beyond the floodplain rose 157,000 acres of terraces. To irrigate these meant lifting the equivalent of a fair-sized English river 360 feet. The 300 square mile area was originally split up by small farms. These old boundaries were swept away, and a new grid of 165 plots of about 1,300 acres each was laid out. Each of these plots has running through it a subsidiary canal. These radiate like the branches of a tree from the main canal. Each plot also has an automatic pumping station which serves to irrigate individual 82-acre fields through a network of underground pipes which carry water to pressure heads in each plot. It was to take 4 years to implement the £22.5 million contract. Factories had to be built on the site, this one fabricating 5 miles of 3 to 4 yard diameter steel piping to carry the main canal waters up the terraces. Heavy earth-moving equipment shipped from the United Kingdom shifted over 13 million cubic yards of earth. 103 British engineers and nearly 2,000 Romanians were employed on this, one of the largest engineering projects in the country, and it is claimed the largest fully automated irrigation scheme in the world. The statistics are overwhelming. 2 main pumping stations of more than 103,000 horsepower. These were built on the site to feed over 240 miles of canal with 141 subsidiary pumping stations. The canals themselves were quickly dug using special equipment designed to exploit the sandy nature of the ground. But if this meant the canals were easy to dig, it also meant they would have to be lined to prevent the water seeping away through the sandy earth. The problem was solved by using PVC sheeting, enough to cover the City of London, and used in the same way as in a garden fish pond. To protect the sheeting, 10 million concrete slabs were cast locally.
Oh, now that's really it. I got it.
Octagonal in shape, they interlock without cement. They form, with the PVC, an economical and watertight lining to the 230 miles of secondary canal. This summer, the contract was completed, on time, and the whole giant Romanian United Kingdom scheme became operational. The British engineers boast that each of these 10,670 horsepower pumps are so well balanced that one can stand a small coin on edge on them, even at full bore. I am pleased to be able to report that this is so. After 4 years' work, there is now an abundance of water in an area that for centuries has been plagued with unreliable rains and searing summers. It flows through a network of main canals, subsidiary canals, through sluices and weirs to the fields. Specially designed lightweight aluminium piping is used in the fields to irrigate each individual crop. It is simply connected to a pressure head. These are some of the 57,000 sprinklers which provide the equivalent of 50 inches of rain a year reliably. Sensors at each of the 141 field pumping stations automatically maintain the level of water in the canals, compensating for water used and also for water lost due to evaporation. The pressure in the pipes leading to the sprinklers is also automatically maintained. In this entirely automatic system, the increased demand caused by even a single sprinkler could in theory open the huge Danube sluices.
From this console desk, a check can be made at any point of this vast network. The watchkeeper simply selects the station to be interrogated and in seconds gets a readout of the flow of water at that point, which is automatically recorded.
The Romanians themselves are confident they can triple the yield from the original area of land, and experimental plots would seem to bear this out. What remains to be seen is whether the complex nature of this ambitious project is truly suited to the local farmers who will be using it year in and year out. Meanwhile, the Romanians are exporting their newfound skills and have themselves undertaken a similar automatic irrigation project in Syria.
Romania produces wines which, judged by any standards, are excellent. And this is no mere coincidence. These superb barrels are maturing in the cellars of a government institute for research into the cultivation and management of vineyards, the development of new strains, and the scientific control of wine making. And for Romania, this is very important. She produces over 600 million litre bottles a year.
In the wine research laboratory, they are trying to find alternatives to SO2, sulfur dioxide, which is added to white wines to improve their keeping qualities. Without it, the wines would quickly oxidize. Unfortunately, SO2 can also damage the liver, and consequently all wine-producing countries are working hard to find ways of reducing this level in white wines. Recently, the EC has set up standards for sulfur dioxide content, and the Romanians are confident that they can meet them. Research is also being carried out in the field to improve the vines and in particular to develop frost-resistant strains. Romanian ingenuity is also developing special machinery. This small tractor was designed here at the research station to fit between the rows of vines. Behind it, a unique automatic hoe, which is capable of doing in a day the work of 15 men. Feelers on each side sense the vines and move the blades of the hoe so that the weeds are cut away as near to the vines as possible. Literally, grassroots technology.
The modernization of the ancient arts and skills of wine growing is an important aspect of Romanian agricultural policy. In a country of only 20 million people, they plan to move from the land into industry 3.5 million and still maintain and increase agricultural production. And to do that, there is only one solution to the problem: mechanization. Romania's friendship with China is an important fact in this country, but her coolness towards the Soviet Union has undoubtedly cost her dearly in economic development. So, massive investment in the economy is currently taking priority over social considerations such as wages and consumer goods and even housing. But if the Romanians' ambitious plans for the future succeed, then by 1980, this could be easily the richest country in Eastern Europe. And successfully applied technology will be the key to that prosperity. From Tomorrow's World in Romania, greetings and goodbye.